I have a really good idea with NBA 2k20. I'm going to do a MyLeague where we create an expansion team. Not just any expansion team. We're talking about an expansion team in Alaska. Alaska, probably the smallest market in North America for a basketball team. So obviously it's going to be very challenging to draw funds, very challenging to get fan interest, very challenging to draw any type of revenue from this. So I want to make this as much of a challenge as it is for MyLeague. But also I have an idea. Our team is going to be called the Anchorage Anchors, and we're going to have some sort of a radio show / podcast for every episode of sort of like a team update. So obviously this team is going to struggle. An expansion team is always going to struggle in the NBA. But I plan on having, that's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening. A lot of rookies, a lot of storylines, probably a lot of storylines involved, a lot of tales with rookies, a lot of stuff from the D League, a lot of things. The G League. The G League is going to be heavily involved. Like overseas, people from overseas could be involved. Like it's a whole bunch of things that I will be able to do with this series. But anyway, all I need is your support. Just hit the like button and just comment whatever you want. Okay, whatever you want me to do, just any terms of questions. I will also be doing episodes between the series where we just have like a Q&A session where we just ask everybody what you would want for the team. So this first episode is just going to be an introduction of the uniforms and the arena for the team and the roster makeup and just the makeup of the NBA, because this is like its own separate world. This is a different NBA world than the one that's today. Obviously, it's a different expansion team, so we're going to keep going through that. But anyway, I will be playing as Mr. Bob Williams, the play-by-play announcer, the guy who's in charge of the Chillin' podcast. Since we're in Alaska and it's cold, I call it Chillin' with Bob Williams. So without further ado, thank you again for all your support, and I will see you in Alaska. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is Bob Williams of the Chillin' podcast, and we are back. Actually, we're not back. We are just starting with our first episode as we welcome a new NBA team to Anchorage, Alaska. Probably one of the least cities that anybody would have thought of to even have an NBA team. A lot of people were annoyed that Anchorage got an NBA team before Seattle or Vancouver, but we're not going to throw any shots here. I'm just a great fan. I'm very happy that our native Alaska has shown respect and we get an NBA team of our own, the Anchorage Anchors. I'm basically going to go over the new logos. We have, of course, obviously an anchor, and our colors are blue and white, which represents like the cold nature of our state. Obviously, we are the biggest state by land mass in the country, if you didn't know that already. This is our team logo, our blue and white anchor. Obviously something very simple, something very relevant to what we have going on in Alaska. If you look at our uniforms are very, very beautiful looking. Very beautiful looking white with the blue fading effect, and it goes into the shorts with the white. Very beautiful. Our road uniforms, the beautiful black, very beautiful black with the white, and our alternates, and even like a tone, a baby bluish with a black short and a black fade into the shorts. As we take a look at our arena, obviously you can see that we do not have the biggest arena, obviously, as not a lot of money was pumped into the effort of expanding this team, so we are starting from the ground up. We have a small arena, very nice court design with the blue and black, definitely very nice. Very nice. I love our team. I love what we have going on. We take a look at our roster. We have some players that were surprisingly not protected in the expansion draft. As you do know, with an NBA expansion, every team has the right to protect up to 8 players, and the players that they do not protect go into a draft pool that can be selected by the expansion team. As you see, our management went very young and very cheap, as we are looking to save enough money. We're not trying to secure a lot of big contracts, as we know that we are a rebuilding team, and we don't want to bog ourselves down with financial burdens going into the next couple seasons. So let's look at our roster. The most surprising person that was unprotected, Thomas Bryant, former starter for the Washington Wizards, was surprisingly left unprotected, so our front office scooped him up. Very nice 22-year-old 6'10 center that has a beautiful three-point shot and will definitely be one of our featured scorers on this team. Michael Porter Jr., a player that I feel like everybody was sleeping on. Denver obviously slept on him because they did not protect him. Okay, they assumed, I guess, he wasn't physically ready, but we're taking a chance on Michael Porter Jr., and we hope that he turns out to be as good as he was in high school and in college. We picked up Amari Spellman, the big man, the former Golden State Warrior, the former Atlanta Hawk, the really big, strong, big man with a very nice jump shot, can definitely help us out on the offensive end. We got Matisse Thybulle, the first-round pick who was not protected by the 76ers. Very surprising. He is a very great defender, a defensive specialist, which is something a lot of young players do not have nowadays. Now we hop into a somewhat questionable pick, but we took TJ Leaf, former forward for the Indiana Pacers. His first 2 seasons were not as great, but our management decided to take a chance on him because we did believe that he could definitely help us in a good way, stretch the floor, can pass, very good player. Derrick Jones Jr., a very surprising player to show up in the unprotected pool. So for some reason, Miami did not see anything in him. Hyper athletic, improving three-point shooter, very good lob catcher, very good inside scorer, can help us out on the defensive end. I like this pick for us. We got the GOAT. We got Jesus himself, Alex Caruso. The Lakers did not keep Alex Caruso, so we're keeping him. Very good three-point shooter, surprisingly athletic, very good ball handler, just a very underrated player. Tony Bradley, the backup center for the Utah Jazz. He's been kept kind of deep in the rotation for the last couple years, but we see a lot in him, and we think that he can develop into a very good center, can give us a lot of good minutes off the bench. Very good minutes. Can give us some very good minutes. Maybe even starting minutes. Bruno Caboclo, the guy who's 2 years away from being 2 years away from being 2 years away. We joke on this podcast, but a very, very intriguing prospect. He's only 24 years old. He's been in the league 5 years. He's only 24. 6'9", very big wingspan, can shoot the ball, has definitely worked on that jump shot, can definitely become a stretch for us. We also picked Zanin Musa. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, but a very, very underrated player for the Nets. Very great scorer, very good shooter, very good passer. Just a very good scorer. Just offense is what we need. Gary Trent Jr., the guard from the Portland Trailblazers that they did not keep. The sniper from the Portland Trailblazers that they did not keep. So this is another great three-point shooter that's on our team. Jalen Noel, a relatively unknown prospect coming from the University of Washington. He's a very good shooter, very underrated player. Is definitely going to help strengthen the second unit. Definitely going to be a great player off our bench. Terrence Mann, 6'5" point guard out of Florida State. Very good. I love what I saw from him in college. Very good shooter, a very good passer. He plays a lot bigger than 6'5", but he's definitely going to help us out coming off the bench. Jalen LeCue, the hyper-athletic point guard out of high school. To be honest, Jalen is a project player. Jalen is a very good, very big project player. But like I said, we are a rebuilding franchise, so we have time to develop these players. We have two very, very, very peculiar signings. We have signed two-way players to contracts. Mr. Eddie Lane, 7'2" center out of Fresno State. Very great mid-range shooter. Has somewhat of a three-point shot. So can definitely help us out on the offensive end. Definitely help us out on defense. He's another one of these project players that we're going to see a lot in the G League. A lot of his development will be in the G League. So we will definitely give him some time to get his game in order. So hopefully next season he can be a big contributor to our roster. And last but certainly not least, Mr. J.T. Paul, small forward out of George Mason. Very, very underrated university. 22-year-old forward. Not that much of a shooter. Sort of, like I said, like Jalen, he's a little bit more of a project player. We like what he can become. We love his potential. Definitely, if everything falls where it needs to be, he can be a great contributor for us in the next couple of seasons. Now, this is our roster. So we're just going to take a look around the league. As I want to show you something that's very, very, very peculiar. We have some G League free agents. Some of these players that did not get picked up in the unprotected players pool, they ended up in the G League. One of the most surprising things we've seen is Michael Beasley, former number 2 overall pick, is in the G League. This is a crazy turn of events as we look around and see some of the more notable NBA players that have played in the NBA for a while. Tyler Kavanaugh played with the Jazz. Jalen Adams played with the Hawks. Marcus Derrickson with the Warriors. Devin Robinson, Daniel Hamilton, J.P. McCura, Joe Chilly. Both of these players played for the Hornets last season. Devon Reed, Trayvon Blewett, Troy, I can't pronounce your last name, Demetrius Jackson, Tyler Davis, Bonzi Colson, Haywood Highsmith, Brandon Sampson, Riley Hawkins. Basically, the G League scene is a little different than what I've expected. I would never expect to see Michael Beasley in a G League uniform. Well, hopefully he gets called up very soon because he's definitely deserving of a spot in the NBA. Well, that is it for the first episode of Chillin'. Well, next time we will look into the season preview. We will take a look at all the coaching staff. We will take a look at everything that is to know about the Anchorage Anchors. But anyway, we will see you next week.